Okay, everyone, we had some technical difficulties there. So this is part 2 of the Sun Exchange interview. And I just asked Abraham Cambridge about how these projects are projects that would not be traditionally financed. They're smaller projects in developing countries, and to explain how Bitcoin enables this, is enabling people from all over the world to finance these projects that otherwise would not be financed. So take it away, Abraham.
That's right. So in particularly in developing countries, traditional financial systems aren't willing to finance like microgrids where the end customer, they may not have ID numbers or social security. They're kind of unbankable in the traditional sense. So through using democratic financial systems such as Bitcoin, we can now choose as humans around the world whether we are willing to bank on people in Africa needing electricity. Well, of course, people in Africa need electricity. They all want to be able to charge mobile devices, charge laptops, run refrigeration. At the moment, many people don't have that kind of energy, but they are spending money on kerosene candles, spending money on sort of fairly ineffective LED lighting systems. So we can now actually supply electricity to good quality electrical systems to the developing world if we wish to, if we choose to. Now, because the Sun Exchange works in solar cell units, which is about $7.50 or at the moment 9 millibits per solar cell, individuals can choose actually how much are they willing to bank on people requiring electricity in the long term in Africa. So once you've purchased your solar cell, you know it's deployed in a solar project in Latin America or in India or in Africa, and you're going to be getting your income stream from that solar plant for 20 years. Now, just we don't install the system. We work with developers, solar project developers around the world who are putting their life's work into these projects. And they carry a lot of risk. You know, they're spending a lot of time meeting the communities, designing and engineering the solar plants. These are fully well-engineered projects. They just can't get them financed through traditional banks because they are uninterested in financing projects that are that small. But on the micro investing scale, it's perfect. So the next project is going to be about $250,000 to raise, but we've already got about 900 users on the Sun Exchange, and it's growing exponentially at the moment. We had 250 users registered just this month. So we've recently launched, and we've already got a track record of successful projects. So stuff that we're doing, particularly the next project, which is to read for the microgrid, and it'll really become clear how we're transforming the energy landscape.
All right, now a big question I want to get is there's all sorts of regulations with Americans and finance. Have Americans been joining up and financing? Is it easy for Americans to do this?
Yeah, because you're in effect just making a purchase. You're buying a solar cell. You're buying a physical product that actually exists. You are given a reference number for it, a geographical coordinate of where it's located, and you can go and visit it and point at it and look at it. We actually even offer the people buying the solar cell the option of receiving it physically, so undeployed in a project. And in doing so, we're just an e-commerce marketplace. We sell solar cells and we give the buyers the opportunity to rent them on to an end user, and we facilitate that as a leasing agent. So in doing so, anyone in the United States can be confident that they are perfectly entitled to do this, and we are entitled to run this type of business.
Okay. So
provided that they're allowed to use and buy and sell Bitcoin, then they're entitled to use the system.
So you have had, are there presently Americans that have participated, and Canadians? Have you had people from North America? Yeah. Okay, very good.
Yeah. Yes, we have.
Okay. And the one thing I noticed on the site, is that the returns are they're valued in South African rand. Is that correct? I saw the South African rand a lot on your site.
Yeah. So the projects are in South Africa, and the end users are paying in South African rand. Now, the thing with the South African rand is that the inflation is quite high. It's about 6%. But we increase the electricity sell price at inflation plus 1%. Now, people all around the world do actually invest in South African rand because it's quite an interesting currency to invest in. So it's very popular with Japanese households to invest, And in fact, in the United States and the UK, people invest in bonds, in South African government bonds, because it's a fairly, although it is a volatile currency, it's actually a good one because there's so much resources behind the South African economy. As long as people want metals and lithium and other products, people are going to invest in South African rand. So yes, the 10% internal rate of return, which we communicate to our end users, that is tied to the rand. But you can download the product information for each solar project that we run, and you can see the full cash flow forecasts. You can see the assumptions we've made, and at the end of the day, there will be some variability because it's tied to solar energy, and solar energy is variable. But we've used every single methodology that we can do to give confidence to the people buying the solar cells that it's going to be effective. And we obviously, our reputation is on the line as a business. We're not going to sell something which doesn't come up with the goods. So we're being fairly conservative in all of our estimates that the people buying the solar cells are going to get the income that we state.
But in theory, if the South African rand really tanked over 20 years, because this is a 20-year I mean, when you buy a solar cell, you're getting paid for 20 years, correct? And if it's
absolutely.
If it's in South African rand, if it's based around the rand and the rand is inflated away, there could be some issues, correct?
Could be true, but look at the African economy. The 10 fastest growing countries in the world, economics-wise, are in Africa. Africa is the new China. China's economy is slowing down. European market stagnated. US, uncertain. Africa is going places. Africa is rising. The South African rand has improved 20% against the dollar in the past 12 months. So the people that backed our first project at the Stellenbosch Waldorf School are actually having higher returns than anticipated because of the strength of the South African rand. You know, Africa is where the resources are now.
Yeah, and so basically this project is also, if people are interested in it, they have that belief that you have, that Africa is the future. This is something that I want to get into because of that. I mean, that's the rock that this is kind of based upon also. You have to believe that things are going to get better there, that this is the future. Or else then there is no, if you think there's going to be hyperinflation of the South African rand, then yeah, there's probably no point in getting into this project. But if you believe in Africa, then get into the project type of thing. I mean, you know, some people. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we can actually ask or request the user of the electricity to switch to Bitcoin payments. It's not absolutely has to be in rand, but we have to distribute our payments in Bitcoin. So if the South African rand does absolutely tank for whatever reason, then we go the off-taker to pay in Bitcoin, which, you know, the strength of the Bitcoin economy is actually very strong in South Africa. There is a lot of liquidity and it's growing significantly. So that would be an alternative if indeed, as you say, the local currency going south.
So, and to clear one thing up, let's say you had a project in Mozambique, for example. And your company is still based in South Africa. If there was a project in Mozambique, would everything be in terms of their currency rather than rand?
Yeah, they would be in Pula, which I believe is their currency.
Yeah, it's Medikal, I think, actually. Yeah. Pula is Botswana, right? Okay, I don't know.
Oh, correct. Yeah, I'm very impressed by your Southern African currency knowledge. But yeah, we would have to negotiate and make sure the lease contracts are compliant with the legislation of each country. So that's why at the moment we're just focusing on South Africa, because we've already got our legal agreements drafted for the projects here. And in each country we go to, we will have to redraft our contracts. So we are at the moment raising seed capital, but we want to prove out a few more projects first. And once we've raised the seed capital, we can then sort of expand into other countries. But I just really want to just, you mentioned something very crucial earlier, which is that, you know, a conviction that the future of Africa is important. The population of Africa at the moment is 1.2 billion people continent-wide. Now, the population growth is on a trajectory that it's going to reach 5.6 billion people by the year 2100. And that is no way that the planet can support 5.6 billion more people on Earth running on fossil fuels. The future of Africa has to be solar powered. It's the only way that Africa can become electrified without really destroying the rest of the planet's ecosystems and the climate. I mean, I'm a climate change scientist. That's how I got into solar energy in the first place. You know, I studied for 4 years climate change science, and it is a significant issue. I mean, regardless or irrespective of how much humans have had to play in climate change is happening, and we need to do everything we can to mitigate the risks that it's going to be catastrophic.
Yes, and obviously the population of Africa is growing no matter what. They will need power. I've seen it firsthand. It is very much developing. The world is going to be a lot different over there in 20 years. So someone's going to have to power it. I mean, on the solar power side of things, things are very exciting. And I hope, it's very interesting that you're combining Bitcoin with it. I hope this really helps promote Bitcoin in Africa. Have you had a lot of people on the Bitcoin side of the financing world or the Bitcoin business side of the world contact you about this? I'm sure you've had many solar power people contact you about this, but how is the Bitcoin interest in or blockchain, whatever you want to call it, how have you been received on that end?
Yeah. Proof of work competition, the consensus coin competition, been picked up cross coin. Yeah, so interesting point. I mean,
well, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty again there, which is unfortunate because this has been such an interesting conversation, hasn't it?
Okay, well, I can still hear you. Still hear you.
You're coming in and out here.
I can still hear you, and I can still see you.
All right, there you go. I can see you now. So just answer that. I think that whole question got cut off. I mean, your answer got cut off there. So just say that again, I think.
And so what was your question?
The interest
I was about to.
The interest in the from the Bitcoin side of the world, the Bitcoin businesses. Have you gotten a lot of interest from that industry?
Yeah, we have, because it's such that we're using a fantastic use case of Bitcoin. Bitcoin traditionally has still got a stigma about it, you know, dark net, you know, shadowy dealings on the internet. But actually, Bitcoin can do a tremendous amount of good in the world. And solar powering Africa is an amazing way of looking at it, because with this, what we're doing couldn't happen without it. Someone putting 9 millibits into a single solar cell in Africa and getting returns over 20 years, the number of decimal places that's required for that would be impossible using another currency or any other finance system. So we've been picked up across Bitcoin news articles. We were in the proof of work competition at CoinDesk's consensus conference in March last year. We were up at the Abu Dhabi blockchain conference doing a whole segment on solar and the applications of blockchain in the solar industry. So we have got a very interesting take on how to deploy this kind of technology. Now, from my own kind of philosophical perspective, isn't it interesting that with Bitcoin, that's been created on a silicon chip powered by electricity, and that's then financing that generates electricity that then creates money. It's an entirely passive silicon-based economy, solid state silicon economy, and we're at the birth of that, I truly believe.
Wow, yeah, that's a great way of framing it, definitely. So to wrap things up here, people can go to your website, thesunexchange.com, and from there they can purchase a cell, correct? Just for a very low cost.
Yeah, you can buy down to a single cell, 9 millibits. Obviously, the Bitcoin price recently has been very volatile, but we would advocate that people that have made a lot of Bitcoin profit maybe just want to just say, well, I've got all this Bitcoin profit. It's still theoretical as long as it's in a Bitcoin wallet. So why not put some of it into turning it into a tangible physical asset that still generates a return? You know, you're not spending money on coffee or whatever. It's not a disposable good. You're actually putting it into an asset that's going to generate you a long-term yield. And that's what we believe to be a completely unique offering in the Bitcoin space.
I think the website, I've been to the website, it's very professional looking. It gives explanations, you know, payment, how you're going to be paid over the next 20 years, nice PDFs. It shows your very professional management team that has a lot of experience. I mean, it's a combination of a lot of worlds you have going on there. So this is something the finance people are going to be interested in, the Bitcoin people, the energy people. We're people here that are watching this today. This could become huge. And if you believe in Africa, if you understand how quickly things are growing over there and things are changing, you'll probably be pretty excited about this. So Abraham, anything else you want to say before we get off the air here?
Yeah, I mean, but you're correct. I mean, a lot of the people that sign up on our website, they've come from all walks of life. We've got people that work in finance, people that work in the solar industry, Bitcoiners. We received an email yesterday from a Wall Street asset finance manager, and he told us that this is a game changer. This is a way of being able to put finance into solar projects where the value's backed by limitless amounts of sun with the value of electricity. It's not connected to volatile stock markets or political interference into the value of currency. This is an entirely new way of financing energy systems and generating wealth around the world.
Okay, well, on that note, I thank you so much for being on the show today, Abraham Cambridge of the Sun Exchange. We're going to give all of his important links below. Again, it is thesunexchange.com. Sorry that we had some technical difficulties, but I think everyone has learned a lot. I've learned a lot during this interview too. So Abraham, thank you for being on the show.
No, thank you so much for having me. And despite there have been technical difficulties, but I'm in Cape Town, other side of the planet. I still think it's pretty cool that we can do this.
You know what? It is totally amazing. What a world we live in 2017. Again, I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video, check out the Sun Exchange website. I post a new video here every day, so keep coming back. This is Today in Bitcoin. I hope you enjoyed the show. Bye, everyone.